My name is Jacob Zarang. I'm meteorologist here at the Weather Service in Slidell. And I'll be giving you your weekly weather briefing. So let's get started. Just a little bit of a situation overview. At least in the short term, it's going to be our typical summertime weather, afternoon showers and storms. At least for today, I'll get into that later, a risk for excessive rainfall. Similar to yesterday, any storm that sits in one area for a long period of time can produce some flash flooding. But then as we get more into next week, the heat is going to be more of a concern. And then also we have another risk for heavy rainfall and excessive rainfall on Monday, and I'll get into that as well. So this is the 7-day threat outlook. You can see heat and lightning, typical thunderstorms in summertime, is the most impactful in the short term. And as we get going into Monday and Tuesday, we start getting into that moderate and high risk for heat. So that's something to be careful for. Again, I'll get into that later. And you can see the excessive rainfall is slight today for that risk I mentioned earlier. Also, we'll mention later too. But then Monday as well, we get into the enhanced risk for excessive rainfall. So looking at today, we are barely clipped by a slight risk of excessive rainfall up in Wilkinson County, but the rest of the area is under a marginal risk of excessive rainfall. And that is due, we're expecting scattered storms to develop later this evening, and it's very similar to yesterday. If we get a storm to sit over the same spot for a long enough time, especially over urban areas like New Orleans and Baton Rouge, flash flooding will be a concern there. So looking at Monday, most of the area is under a marginal risk for excessive rainfall, but a small area in our northeastern portions are outlook for slight risk of excessive rainfall. At least as of right now, we're expecting about 1 to 2 inches in that higher risk area throughout that day. But of course, given this is 5 days out, this is bound to change, and we will of course keep you updated as we get closer. But it's looking like Monday might be a heavy rainfall day, especially in southwest Mississippi and in the Florida parishes. So looking at the maximum temperature and the heat index, we're starting with Sunday. We could see the max temperatures are going to be around the mid 90s, and with the high humidity and high dew points, it's going to feel like over 110 again, similar to what we saw last week and earlier in June. So we're at least going to be having heat advisories this weekend, but we might be pushing excessive heat warning again, with those heat indices getting into the mid 1-teens. And then looking into Monday, the max temperature is about the same, maybe even getting in the low 90s, but that humidity is going to still be around. So we're going to be looking at, heat indices greater than 110 again for Monday as well, especially in those river parishes as of right now, getting up into 115 and 117. So that's, something we're going to be looking at too as we get closer on Sunday and Monday. So just to summarize everything, at least in the short term this weekend, it's going to be your typical summertime pattern, afternoon showers and thunderstorms. If one sits over an area for too long, it could lead to some localized flooding, and heat becomes more of a concern at the beginning of next week. And again, heavy rainfall is also another threat on Monday. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, please to ask. Thanks.